Thank you, friends. Shabbat Shalom and greetings to you all. Now, don't forget to light a candle for Yom HaShoah, Holocaust Memorial Day. Light a candle now. Honor the souls and spirits of the martyrs of the 20th century, the freedom fighters who stood up to fear, who were fast disappearing from life and sadly, in many ways, from history. If that happens, what could never happen again happens again. Just look around. If what you see doesn't scare you, I don't know what will. So go and light a candle. The light not only goes to elevate the souls of those you think of, but it keeps fear at bay. For you, for us all, for light fights fear. Now, the holiday freedom from fear is over. And yet there's a condition that's associated with fear called atelophobia, which is the fear of not being good enough, or a fear of imperfection. This means that an atelophobic has the fear that whatever they're doing is wrong in some way. We all know people like that. So have you freed yourself from fear? It's never too late. And it's not just a once-a-year event. You can do it anytime. Now, this coming week has two other kinds of holidays. Not Jewish, but in our never-ending search for holidays, we make new ones, or we appropriate other cultures' ones. Now, May the 4th is, of course, Star Wars Day, when everyone says, "May the 4th be with you." And I've got Obi-Wan over one shoulder and Mr. Peabody over the other. Now, Mr. Peabody wasn't in Star Wars, but he's a classic. It was clever once for about an eighth of a second, but it is a big deal every year. And the following day is an appropriated holiday, Cinco de Mayo, the 5th of May. Now that represents a battle in which Mexico defeated the French at the Battle of Puebla in 1862. Although I would bet if you asked anyone what it is a holiday for, most wouldn't have a clue. Now, it wasn't a defining moment, especially since the French actually crushed Mexico in the Second Battle of Puebla and occupied Mexico City. But it does represent the victory of the smaller over the greater. And that's very reminiscent of the Hanukkah celebration, where the Maccabees represented the smaller defeating the greater. So we must always celebrate the victory of the downtrodden. Now today, the protests we're witnessing are not the protests of the downtrodden. I remember protests from the 60s. They were very different. And there was this great protest song from 1964, protesting protests. Now the labor leaders screaming when they close the missile plants. United Fruit screams at the Cuban shore. Call it peace or call it treason. Call it love or call it reason. But I ain't gonna go marching anymore. No, I ain't going marching anymore. And the world has changed. It has changed radically. Now, in my day, you wore a t-shirt with Che Guevara on it, and maybe you'd wear a beret. Made even more popular, of course, by the Guardian Angels. Che's was black, the Angels was red. Now the uniform appears to be a keffiyeh, a mask and a Hamas headband. The equivalent of walking around with a swastika armband. How acceptable was that? Even Harry, who was stupid enough to dress that way, faced the anger over it. How far we have come in protesting. Starbucks is catering the protests at universities now. But more, these are no longer peaceful protests. These are now riots, filled with disruption, danger, destruction. Jewish students are stopped from going to class simply because they are Jewish. And not enough for calling this wrong. How come those breaking into buildings, destroying property, keeping people from work, study, and the general wheels of life aren't a form of worldwide insurrections? Isn't this a violent uprising against authority? Granted, it's a very minor number of people in the scheme of things, but there's an organization to it that did not exist in the 60s. Whether on the news or in the papers, I keep asking myself, how come these students all have the same construction helmets, kerchiefs, goggles, gas masks? Student discourse has obviously come a long way. So now I fear for the safety of those wanting to simply study. I fear for those wanting the experience of higher education. I fear for those who are Jewish, or any who support Jews, freedom, choice, democracy. It keeps those who aren't Jewish from supporting publicly those who are. Did you ever in your life think you would see anti-Israel protests in New York City? Never mind the rest of the world. I remember when it was called Jew York City as a pejorative term. We are surrendering to the mob. And this is $100,000 a year anti-Semitism, and it doesn't bode well. When the genie's out of the bottle, how do you put it back? How do you get control of a mob? How did the Germans? When did schools start teaching how to break into buildings, how to barricade, how to unfurl banners? Why is it primarily at the most expensive schools, the most elite schools in the US and Canada? Just what are these people fighting for or against? It's nothing that impacts any one of them. But there are injustices they could fight for and do not. Who would the fighters for freedom and democracy say? When you protest and destroy and intimidate for a group that holds those as ideals, you become them. Once we welcomed debate, but now we teach hate. When did we turn to, I'm all for freedom of speech as long as I agree with it, otherwise we should silence the opposition? This is not civil disobedience anymore, my friends. This is not Gandhi. This is not Martin Luther King. These are rioters. What are the shouts for the hostages? The 8-month-old, the 8-year-old, the 80-year-olds taken. Once only train robbers and the bad guys wore masks. Now anyone who does not want to be identified does. They can't even pretend it's pandemic-related anymore. If they believe so strongly in their cause, why are they hiding their identities? Who are these people? We now see the fear politicians let rule them, the pharaohs of their lives. Being voted out of do-nothing jobs and having to be productive has shuttered their brains. We used to know as a society what's right, what's wrong, what's good, bad, acceptable, what is moral, ethical. And we're going to start reading shortly where morals and ethics dictate to law. Something never seen previously, but something that has stayed with us, the kernel of our being, even if nothing more than that mere kernel of decency. So as we gathered for the Festival of Freedom, we didn't let anything stop us. Let's take this opportunity now to come together and gather, putting differences aside, because we do form a community, a like-minded group, a collective consciousness of seeker showing faith, any and all faith, love, any and all love, a true chavura, fellowship. As we express our nature of kindness, compassion, thoughts, feelings, hopes, dreams, and wishes, unites us all in this community house of spirit, Beth Ruach, sharing and bringing light, keeping fear at bay. And even though together, we're individual in our approach, each connecting in his or her or their own way. So what's game? Go ahead. Invite everybody, physically, digitally, psychically, emotionally, spiritually, to gather and share. From Psalm 133, the Hine Matov, come together. How good and pleasant it is for brothers and sisters together. Community. 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 Together. We support each other in this community. Let's all spread love, goodwill, and fellowship to the world. Remember, friends, this is you setting aside just a little bit of sacred time in your sacred space to honor and converse with whoever. Whatever you happen to believe in, we all believe in something. It's part of your kavanah, your intention that you put out to the universe. It's your goodwill. Goodwill and intention are the roots of what you control, of what you can correct. It is your intention that sets in motion everything that occurs in your lives. So let's take some time now. Let's use that intention. Send some of that goodwill, some light, some healing out to whoever you know that needs it. Healing and renewal for everybody. It just floats through space, finding those in need. So send it out. For those you know, for the souls and spirits of everybody you love. So think of whoever that needs healing and renewal and love. Just plain goodwill. Focus on them. Call their names. It's not just for people. It's for our pets. It's for the earth. It is the healing of the world. The tikkun olam. It's part of our spiritual genetic makeup. And a part of the healing of the world is where we send thoughts and energy for health and renewal and goodwill for everybody. They don't have to be sick. It is for those in our hearts and our minds. So let's all send energy out for the people in need everywhere. Special thoughts and prayers always for those in need of assistance, and always for the hostages until they are freed. We pray for those who need prayer. We don't have to know them. We want health, recovery, good life for everybody around us. For Larry, Elizabeth, for Tony and Suzanne, Becky, for Roxanne and Tommy, for the Cardinal, Gary, for Berjana and Mary, Kenneth, Kathleen, for Carla, for Jessica and Nina, for Lucy, for Gabby and Leanne, for Marilyn and Maria, for Charles, Shelley, for Gloria and Pam, for Terry, for John and Maria, for Dory and Teresa, for Joni and Fern, for Ronnie, for Connie, for Tally and Mayim, for Snoopy, who we hope had a great birthday, Nina and Danny, for all those suffering and in need. Let's not forget to include all the familiars of our lives, all of our sacred animal friends everywhere, for everyone you know in need, for the whole world, and for dear Devora. Friends, it is the kindness, the healing wishes, the goodwill and love we all send out. It just circles the world finding those in need. So thank you, each of you, for all you do, for all you care, because the world is a world of spirit, and spirit, my friends, never dies. Shabbat. Avotenu. Makor. Vivotenu. May the source of strength bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage. Make our lives a blessing. The renewal of body. The renewal of spirit. Let us say, Amen. Mishaberach, let us all have our spirits renewed. This is the great prayer for healing. As we call upon God to heal as He has lived before, Mishaberach, may He who blessed, because all healing is a blessing. So let's all send and receive renewal energy and healing in our efforts to love, to share, to care. This week we return to the Torah, and we read acharei mot, after the death. Now normally it's read as another two-part parsha with next week's kedoshim, holy. But this year it's read alone. So we normally have after the death, holiness. What a great comment that is on our beatifying those who, often undeserving, because they passed. We're not reading them together, so I'm not going to go down that road this year, but it does serve as a warning. Do not wait for the death of someone to express yourself to them. People need to know while alive. So tell those you love that you love them. Tell those that have meaning that they have meaning. But it's that combined title that brings up questions everybody wonders about. What happens after death? Now, that's not really the question addressed here, but it's a question on most people's minds at one time or another, and especially when people are quite sick or as they get older and realize that they are facing their mortality. When you're sad, when you lose, and you haven't got a friend, just remember, death is not the end. All that you held sacred falls down, does not mend. Just remember, death is not the end. Not the end. No, no. Not the end. No, no. Just remember, is growing, where the spirit never dies, and the bright light of salvation shines in dark and empty skies. Now, I believe that amazing song was actually only performed live once, maybe twice. We're fascinated because we spend our lives with purpose, friends, family, career. There was a big void which religion has tried to fill. Heaven. We pick up this week right after the death of Aaron's sons. There was no minyan when Aaron's sons died. Of course, there were no formal prayers as we know them. We honor the dead with prayers. Our prayers, like the Kaddish, are glorifications and sanctifications of God and of the soul of the deceased. You can still honor them. Now, I know I'm in the minority, but I believe that the intention is more important than the dogma or the rule of having 10 men. I count women. Today I count everyone. Whoever wants to pray for somebody should be allowed to pray for somebody. Do what you feel is right doing. Take the time, light a candle. Say a prayer for your family, for your loved ones, for any you know who have died or are dying. They will be just as elevated with prayerful intent coming from you alone as coming from the group. But for the last little while, your hidden opportunity was to reflect on you, your life, your goals as we entered a new year, a new time. You got to examine your fears, your family, your wants, your needs. We've been given an opportunity to do a bit of a pre-review of ourselves, the kind we do during the 10 days of awe. And I'm sure you all discovered things about yourselves, your families, your relationships. You may have found what the Talmud talks of. That is that the surest path to a peaceful home and soul is through kindness. And almost a greater lesson is learning that the second most important characteristic needed to achieve peace, indeed to benefit any personal relationship, is to become proficient in the art of silence. Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again. Because a vision, softly creeping, left its seeds while I was sleeping. And the vision that was planted in my brain still remains within the scent of silence. It's why we have meditation, why we practice mindfulness. The Talmud, the Psalms, they encourage silence. We have to watch our words. Words and speech hurt. We spend much of the day, especially the Day of Atonement, trying to make up for what we said when we did not hit the pause button and take the time to think before speaking. And lo and behold, this parsha gets immediately into something we are also familiar with, Leviticus 16:7. And he shall take the 2 goats and stand them in front of the Lord at the entrance of the tent of meeting, and Aaron shall cast lots on the 2 goats, 1 lot for the Lord, 1 lot for Azazel. Azazel. This word occurs only in this chapter and nowhere else in the entire Tanakh. There have been many attempts to explain it, with the common view being that it refers to some sort of desert demon. But the simple fact is we do not know who or what it is. And it continues, and he shall make atonement over the holy from the impurities of the children of Israel, from their offenses, for all their sins, and he shall do so. The tent of meeting, the tents with them among their impurities, and the goat will carry all their crimes on it to an inaccessible land, and he shall let the goat go in the wilderness. This is the Yom Kippur ritual. We've never seen it performed. Now, I imagine it's kind of like letting balloons go with negativity attached. There is a sense of freedom that one gets. Now, so what does Aaron do? He casts 2 lots, 1 for the Lord, 1 for Azazel, and friends, no one knows, and no one really cares, because the result is it brings freedom. And our belief and faith is then strengthened. In the time of my confession, now of my deepest need, when the pool of tears beneath my feet flood every newborn seed, there's a dying voice within me, reaching out somewhere, toiling in the danger rain of morals of despair. Don't have the inclination to look back on any mistake. Like Cain, I now behold this chain of events I must break. With the fury of the moment, I can see the master's hand. Every leaf trembles, and in every grain of sand. Now Aaron atones for himself, and for his household, and for the whole assembly of Israel. And in doing this cleanse, he provides a new blank canvas to imprint life upon for everybody. Now, later Jewish tradition would transform this ritual for the purgation of physical miasma pollution into a process of spiritual repentance and atonement. Yes, my friends, the world is sacred. So is everything in it. Express your gratitude, light a candle, make a wish, celebrate your life and the lives of those you love. Share your feelings with them. Live free, be free, honor your freedom, be well, be happy, be blessed. Share and honor the light. Live in the light. Continue to shine. Continue to send everybody you know goodwill and love. Pray for peace and freedom for everybody. And end to terror and hatred. Remember, friends, we are a community. We learn together. We celebrate with each other. We love each other. We share this ride together, men and women equally. Let's all send out love, not fear. Send out peace, harmony, goodwill, and healing to all who need it. Please do learn to forgive. Learn to love, including yourself. Open your hearts. Honor the relationships of your life. Tell those you love that you love them. Examine your intentions. Use them to imprint your will on the universe. Because we set in motion all that happens in our lives. It is our intention, our kavana, our cause, our effect. Everything's linked. You always have time to forgive and to be forgiven. You have the knowledge of what's good and bad, so acknowledge what you have done wrong to yourself, to God, to any person you've wronged. Ask forgiveness. Do so with sincerity. Always be sincere. Can you accept life as it is without trying to control it? If you do, you can experience the peace that acceptance brings. I want you to keep on dreaming, my friends. Keep on being, keep sharing, keep shining. Keep teaching. It's what you do. It's what we all do. We teach. We spread joy and goodwill. Do not follow fear. Follow love, because love is always in front of you. And work to be present in the body. Expand your heart, quiet your mind. The deepest source of your real power lies in your consciousness, in your ability to be mindful, to be aware, to be present in all of life's circumstances. Love with the heart. Because we are all part of a greater whole. Embrace love, not fear. Forgiveness, not anger. Be there for someone, because someone will actually always be there for you, whether you know it or not. Continue to explore faith, belief. Never accept shame as a natural state, because whatever you feel, others have felt. Whatever you've experienced, others have too. We share together, we learn together, we help each other, because we are each of us trying to find love and acceptance and support. We all have or could have that special someone in our lives, so find them. Tell them what they mean. You're never alone on your journey. Keep forgiving those you need to forgive. Keep asking forgiveness from those you need to ask forgiveness of. Listen to the voice of God. He, she, it, them, they, whatever pronouns you want to use, dogs to you. And reminds you to remember to think before you speak, because your words can empower you, and your words can certainly free you. They say every man needs protection. They say every man must fall. Yet I swear I see my reflection somewhere so high above the wall. west, down to the east. Any day now. Any day now. I shall be released. You know, when you put your faith in God, you shall be released. Thank you for joining me, my friends. Keep sharing the light. Practice forgiveness. Be thankful. Be gracious. Be kind. Be loving. Believe in yourself. Spread a little goodwill to the world. Continue to be the miracle in someone else's life. Be an example and teach someone how you became free. May the fourth be with you. Shabbat shalom and blessings to you all. Take care. We'll see you next week.